Here's a brief tutorial just to sort of summarize some of the things that I went over in the previous class. This here is the desktop, and when you start up your computer and when you've logged in, this is typically what you're presented with. So there's your desktop. These are what we call icons that sit on the desktop. You'll notice we've got different types of icons here. We'll get to that shortly. Down here we've got what we have called the taskbar. And you can see on the taskbar you've got a number of things. You've got the snipping tool, which you saw. You've got Google Chrome, which is a browser. You've got the Internet Explorer there. You've got email, among other programs I use on a regular basis. And I have them here because I can quickly access them without going through any other menus. They're here. So this is the taskbar. The Windows menu, this is the classic Windows start menu, I should add. This is how you'll probably see yours. So when you open it up, these are all your shortcuts. Yours will be a lot different to this, that you've just got your Microsoft Office here. But this is the new kind of format that you'll be seeing. And if you need any programs, they're listed down here in alphabetical order. So you can typically access whatever you want to from here. And also you can type in, just literally type in down here, something which you might want to access as well. It's a good way of finding things and accessing programs there too, into the bargain. What I wanted to show you as well is, you remember the EL3 file folder that I introduced you to, and if you open that up, these are your documents. Now if you remember, we right clicked on that and we demonstrated how we could copy. Well, this is it here. So I've copied, and now I'm right clicking on the desktop and I'm pasting. Do you see that? So that is how we can get a file from a folder onto the desktop. We can also, if I get rid of this, just by right clicking and going for delete, we can hit the delete key. That gets rid of that. I can also drag it to the desktop, but in dragging it, as you can see, it's literally moved the file from that folder to the desktop. If you don't want to do that, you just want to create a copy of it, you've got two choices. You can right click and go for copy, and then paste on the desktop. Job done. Or another thing you could do is hit the Control and C on your keyboard. Let me get rid of this first. Okay, it's gone now. Or you can do the Control C on your keyboard, and that's copied the highlighted document there. And I'm coming across to the desktop and clicking to select the desktop, and then Control and V will paste it there. So these are key ways that we can move documents around. Another one is to right click and go for cut, and that's the same effect as the drag and drop. It moves the file from one location to the other, and all I'm doing by dragging and dropping is literally clicking on the file, and then once my fingers held down on the left hand mouse button, I can then drag it across to wherever location and release it, and that is the exercise completed. So that is basically what we can do with the mouse in terms of dragging and moving documents around. And notice too, you can also navigate the computer. So here you've got my documents. So you click into my documents, you can see your documents, and you can also access that as well directly from the folder here. So by clicking on the folder, these are all your documents. And EL3 has been presented as well because I've used it a few times, so I might want the access to that too. And this is my desktop, and if I click on the desktop, as you'll see, you've got all the files listed there. You've got the two of the text documents you can see there. You've got the my EL3 file there, and you've got the 008 email. Why aren't the rest of these things here then? Well, let's take a look at that. That looks like a folder there, doesn't it? Yeah, but the difference between that and that, if you'll see, is that little arrow there. Do you see the little arrow? That means it's a shortcut. And what that means is, rather than me having to go all the way to the location of where that file is, that folder is, I can have a shortcut to it and just go straight there off the desktop. So what I could do is, rather than going into here and into my computer and to access that, so it might be all the way in here where I'm going to, that's actually pointing to somewhere else that I can't access on here because it's a different login. But in the end, actually, no, tell a lie, it's actually operating off of my OneDrive here, which I may or may not be able to get into. It's empty. So basically, it's pointing to a document that I've got online. So if I wanted to do that, then I can have a shortcut directly there. Another shortcut you'll notice here is to Google Chrome. Now again, this is an icon which is pointing to an executable file. An executable file is something when you click it, it starts a program up. That's one of these. You might recognize iTunes, and that's another software I use. And these are all shortcuts to software. So if I don't want to go all the way into my programs, start my programs and go all the way to say articulate, and if I didn't want to come here all the time, then the ideal thing to do is to create a shortcut. You'll notice I've also got it down here. It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. There's no right or wrong answer. I like to have my icons down here that I use on a regular basis because these typically just require one click to start rather than a double click up here. So what do we mean by shortcut? We've said that it's a means of starting up a program, opening up a file, by having something that's pointing to a more remote, harder to reach file or program. In this case, let's look at Google Chrome to see what I mean. If you right click on that icon and go to properties, then you'll see here that's where it's pointing to. So here is the address. So if I wanted to access that directly, I'd have to go all the way through this slot every time. So C drive, programs 86, Google Chrome. So what we've got here is C drive semicolon backslash, program files 86 backslash. So the backslash indicates when we're going into another folder. Google backslash Chrome so it's another folder. And we're drilling further and further down until we get to what we need, which is chrome.exe. So I could navigate to that every single time if I wanted to open up Chrome. But as that's an awful lot of menus or navigating to do, I mean, by all means, let's go there for this one time to see what we mean. So I'm going to fire open our window, which for some reason isn't opening. There we are. So where did it say? We were going into this PC, we were going into C drive, we were going into programs 86, we were going into Google, which is another folder, and we were going into Chrome, which is another folder, application, and there it is. So if you want to go all the way into there whenever you want to go into your browser, you go on ahead. But here in the 21st century, and indeed it was even so in the 20th century, we could create a shortcut. So if I delete that off my desktop and show you how we put it there, so I've clicked on it. Now if you've got a program like that you've installed and you'd like to put it on your desktop as well, all you got to do is right click on click on the executable file. What it really means is it's got an exe after that. That's what you should be seeing there, but they've taken all the extensions off. So this is just called Chrome. If you can see the extension should be chrome.exe. Anyway, get back to the shortcut. So right click on it, go to send to and create shortcut. And there we are, Billy Bob. And if we fire that up, we should therefore be able to open up Chrome. And that is the principle of having a shortcut. Simple as that. And it's saying, oh, Chrome isn't my default browser. Well, it's always, what that means is, by default, it's whatever the system will use. So if you're clicking on a web-based shortcut, it knows you need a browser and it will open up probably Microsoft Explorer or Edge in this case for you to view it. It won't open up Chrome. But if you select Chrome as the default browser, what that means is going forward that every time you open up, you want to open up a internet-based link, it will open up Chrome to get you there. I've mentioned the term browser. Well, I'm not going to go too far into that, but a browser is basically your window on the internet. But that'll be a subject for another video. I'm going to close this down now. I want to get back over here. So you've noticed that when I was moving things across, backwards, I was deleting files. What if I've deleted something accidentally then? What do I do? Well, there's the recycle bin. If I double click the recycle bin, these are the files I've been throwing away. Do you see those? Now, if I right click and restore, it puts it straight back. And if you do that, there is no damage done to that file whatsoever. That file is completely intact. You can still open it. There won't be any issues. It is a totally functioning document. You haven't done any damage to it by putting it into the recycle bin. I'm trying to demonstrate that at the moment, but it's taken a year and a day to load up. However, there will come a point in time where you'll have to empty your recycle bin, because even though the recycle bin will hold files, there's our document, there's nothing in it though. So that just demonstrates that opens it up from a file that was deleted. But you need to also remember though, after a while, because this is still taking up space on your computer, despite the fact that all these are still, you know, if you restored all these, they would work. You've got a PowerPoint in there, you've got a CV in here, other bits and pieces in here. But if it gets to the point when you have to say, look, you know what, I really don't need any of this. It's been like it for months and months, and I haven't needed to restore anything. So just simply right click and then go for empty recycle bin. We're going to get rid of these. It's permanent. The moment you do this, they are gone. There's no bringing them back. If you've done it accidentally, you might have to take it to a software restorer. But when you click on yes, that is everything in that folder gone. So if I've accidentally put something in the recycle bin and then cleared it, it is gone. There is no way of getting it back. Once it's gone, it's gone. So keep that in mind. And of course, the trash can goes to that. So think of the recycle bin as somewhere where you put all your rubbish, and it sits in the rubbish until you empty it. The moment it's emptied, everything is gone. Simple as that. So I hope that's helped you. The only thing I wanted to mention, I've jumped ahead slightly, is I did talk about files and folders. Well, here's a folder. This is the EL3 My File, and that is a folder. This is like something that contains other folders or files. It's a way of storing and organizing things. So I've got some documents in here. This is a Microsoft Word document, but I can also put other documents in here. I can either right click and then go for new, and I can place an Excel document in here if I want. It'll be a blank one, so let's go ahead and do that. And there we go, and it's and what it's done is it's given me the opportunity to name it. If I don't want to name it, I can just hit enter and it will just be called that. New Microsoft Excel document or worksheet. If you want to rename it, right click and then go for rename. Or you can also use one of the function keys to do that. F2 should allow you to rename a document as well. So that's it, and just to show you that does work, I can fire that up and I can put whatever I want to in there and then name the document however I please, and you know, I've then got essentially a living document sitting in a folder. And of course, if you wanted to carry that, you know, put it onto a pen drive and take it away with you, you can do that. So that, here we go. So this is the document we've created. There is nothing in it, but you know, at the end of the day, it says 7 kilobytes. That's probably whatever information Microsoft has put in there, which you know, takes up some space. It's nothing at all though, 7 kilobyte. So that is basically a brief of your documents, and Microsoft has given you a place to put your documents, because with your desktop, I don't know about you, but I try to keep it clean. Now this is my training one, so that is clean, so I've not really had time to to mess this up yet, but my personal one is cluttered, and that's bad practice. You should keep your documents organized in a central location, and Microsoft has suggested this by giving you your documents folder, which is here. I've got a few bits and pieces in here already, but anything you might want to put in here, you might want to, you can put a new file in here if you want by right clicking and go to new, then left click on folder, and this could be called job search, And in there you can put your CVs, you can put any records of job searches you're finding and so on in there too. And that way, you know, you've got a copy of it. And if you want to throw that onto a USB stick, not a problem. You can copy that and put it onto a USB stick, and then it's portable. But make sure though that you make sure that you're not working from several versions. So you don't have one version of your CV here and another one on your stick. But that's some basics here on what to do there, and I think I've covered most things I wanted to here. I don't think if I right click anything here, there's anything else in here. One thing I will show you quickly. Yeah, why not? If I want to compress a document down to get it onto a pen or a USB stick, which is sometimes called them pen sticks as well, or pen drive. So I right click here and then go to send to. I can then go to compressed folder. Left click on that, and what that now does, that could take some time, that's compressing everything down in there, and it's given me a zip file. This is a WinRAR file actually, but WinZip has also got a zip facility that does the same thing. But what we've done is, if you look at that, that is 3.36 megabyte. Now sometimes it's a bit debatable how far down it does compress, but there you go, 1.6 megabytes. It's actually compressed it down from 3.36 megabyte down to 1.6 megabytes. So if I wanted to email that to someone, this would be the better practice to do, to compress this down to get a nice little zip file. And of course, to get it back, all you'd have to do is just double click on it, and this is what you've basically compressed down. Highlight the file, extract to, and there you have it. Should extract it to my documents. Let's put it into my documents. So it's going to compress, it's going to extract to that file, that destination path. Click on OK, and it's taking its time a bit. But then at the end, that should now be extracted to my document. So there's the file that we've just extracted, and there's all the contents. So that's another thing it's useful for you to do as well. I'm going to delete that because I don't want to keep it there. So those are some basic features. We've covered briefly looking at copying and pasting. We've looked at shortcuts. We looked at folders. We looked at files. We've looked at the recycle bin. And now we've just looked at compressing files. So I think I've given you enough for this tutorial. Go away, have a play, and be happy with what you're doing and be confident with what you're doing. And as I'll always say, your learning has begun. And allow it to motor forward, and make use of YouTube as well for finding other resources. In the meantime, thank you for watching today, and I hope this has been informative for you.